Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Alan and this is my life in Taiwan. Now, during last week's video, I mentioned my reasoning for choosing Taiwan above the other countries that were available to me to find an English teaching job all those years ago, back in 2008. And I also mentioned that I originally came here with my girlfriend for 12 months. The original plan upon arriving on this beautiful little island country was to stay for a year and then go on to some other big, wonderful adventure. And I don't think I'm the only foreigner that has had this plan to originally come here with the intention of staying for a short time, but then finds themselves here many, many years later. So let me start by telling you exactly why I found it almost impossible every year that my contract came up for renewal to say no to another year and ended up staying here for such a long time. And it's probably going to require somewhat of a level of honesty from me, because I feel some of the reasons may be interpreted as quite selfish, or some might say arrogant, as well as some other reasons which will go into the attractiveness and comfortability of Taiwan and a life for a foreigner here. But first, let's start with those juicy, selfish, arrogant reasons for staying here. And the reason that I think it may be interpreted as selfish is probably twofold. First of all, Amor, my girlfriend, she was pretty adamant that Taiwan was always only going to be a 12-month stepping stone in order to get us back to a life in the UK. She had a visa issue that we needed to solve, and that probably needed some money. Therefore, a year in Taiwan would give us enough time to save some money, go through that difficult visa process, and get her back to a life in the UK, a place that she had absolutely fallen in love with during her 3-year working holidaymaker visa there. And some people might say that she was using me as a stepping stone to get back into the UK. Maybe or maybe not. Anyway, this original plan I kind of agreed with. 12 months in Taiwan, save some money, back to the UK, happy days. But the plan ran into a major problem as soon as I arrived in Taiwan, and I started to feel this very close connection to the small country island on which I found myself. I fell in love with the culture, the people, the work, the kids, the students, most of the food. And yeah, I immediately upon arriving here knew that 12 months wasn't going to be the plan for much longer. Therefore, I immediately started to work on a plan in order to change Amor's mind and maybe elongate our stay here in Taiwan. So when the first contract came up for renewal back in 2009, after our first year, I said to Amor, hey, listen, you know, we've got some money in the bank. Imagine if we did that just for one more year and the money was double the amount. And being as we were both still young, I was 26, she was 29, she agreed, and I got to stay in Taiwan for the second year. Now, before you think that we were just money-hungry mercenaries, that wasn't the case at all. Yes, of course, it's very nice to be financially comfortable, and Taiwan was looking after us in that aspect, but I was just using this safety net excuse as a reason to encourage Amor to let me stay for another year, as I just didn't want to leave. For the first time in my life, in my working life anyway, I really felt that I was doing something that made me truly happy. Yes, I missed my family and my friends deeply, but I knew that if I went back now, that there would be nothing really special about my life back there. It would go back to as it was before. 9 to 5, drinking on weekends, pretty standard British guy life, with nothing really special about my life as I had here in Taiwan. And I mean special in two different reasons. Special in the fact that my life here teaching these kids is such a special job, a privilege that I would find incredibly hard to give up if I ever had to, but also special in the fact that here in Taiwan, I feel special. It may sound pretty arrogant, or some might say weak and desperate, but as a foreigner here in Taiwan, especially in the countryside where I was living, you are treated like a movie star. People stop you in the street to take photos, they point and stare at you. And in school, my students, well, they just treat me like I'm some kind of superhero. And for somebody that, like me, a self-confessed attention whore, it's absolutely the perfect situation for me. I mentioned at the start of the video, it's pretty embarrassing, but I am being pretty honest here. I just loved feeling special. Not to mention the fact that every day I was waking up, I felt like I was living in a dream, waking up like I was on some kind of permanent vacation. And as much as I wanted to make my girlfriend happy and follow her wishes back to the UK, I just couldn't imagine leaving this magical little place before I felt it was right. So during the second year, I worked on a more and came up with a plan. I told her at the end of the second year in 2010, we could take an extended vacation back to South Africa for 2 or 3 months where she could recharge, re-energize and feel like herself again. But anyway, yes, the second year finished and we headed off to South Africa in 2010 for a 2-month holiday in the summer. And yes, the wiser ones amongst you will know that that was World Cup time. So cut to 2010 and Amor got to relax and enjoy herself with her family back in South Africa for a couple of months, and I got to see 10 or 11 World Cup games while doubling my weight in South African beer and meat. A perfect win-win situation. But then we came back to Taiwan and the whole cycle started over again. Of course, we'd spent all of our money on this 2-month holiday traveling around South Africa, and we needed to save again if we were gonna realize that plan of getting that visa back to the UK. Now, I'm not gonna go into every single year, the reasons behind staying, because it would be boring for you, and I can't remember the exact details, but what I do know is that Taiwan began to grow deeper and deeper inside of me. And every year when contract signing time came around and the decision had to be made whether to stay or go, I just couldn't make that decision to leave. I was just too happy and didn't want to leave. Some people may say that it was out of laziness or not wanting to get out of my comfort zone, while others maybe say it's just arrogance and I'm enjoying the feeling of being special too much, and I'm sure there are plenty of others that just don't give a flying f***. But the simple fact of the matter was I was waking up in a situation where I was happy every day. And not just basically happy at a sort of base level, but I was happy at a level where I would actively appreciate what I had. Crazy random experiences would happen on an almost weekly or sometimes daily basis. I was making new Taiwanese friends, learning a new language, badly, admittedly. I was in a job that I absolutely loved, and of course, I was enjoying that Taiwanese cuisine a little bit too much, as you can see. But just to jump back into the job, which of course is a massive part of anybody's life, I was now 3 to 4 years into my teaching job, which is a really sort of critical time because you then start to see the first results of those first graders that started 3 or 4 years ago when I was teaching them the alphabet, and now we were engaging in conversations and I was seeing the fruits of my labor and how this really rewarding job on a daily basis was now becoming even more rewarding in the long term, as I mentioned, as I see the kids improving their English as a direct result of me being there. And I think I've mentioned before in a video or two that English teaching here in Asia is kind of like a trick or a trap, and not necessarily a negative one, but because you get those first graders fed in at the bottom with their very limited maybe alphabet skills, you kind of feel indebted to them, or you owe it to them not to quit the job halfway through their elementary school, and you want to see them improve and progress, and as I mentioned, see the fruits of your labor come through. Leaving them halfway through just seems like you're kind of giving up or abandoning them, and I just couldn't bring myself to do that, especially as I actually enjoyed the job, enjoyed the process that much. And this is actually a problem I'm kind of facing and debating now, as many people are asking me if I'm going to take my YouTube channel full time and give up on teaching. I really just couldn't imagine abandoning my students and leaving them with some other teacher and not getting to see the full effect of my teaching progress them through the school. And there's my beautiful arrogance rearing its ugly head again. Anyway, So I know that there's probably been a lot of things that I haven't mentioned that happened along the way, especially including the birth of our beautiful son William, that changed everything, literally changed everything. But having him in the world has definitely made me even more determined to make my life a success here in Taiwan. And I'm eternally grateful to Taiwan and its amazing healthcare system for bringing William into the world and keeping him healthy, even when he was incredibly sick just after being born. Again, another video. But I think I'm gonna wrap this video up. I hope it has demonstrated to you some of the reasons why I feel like I can never leave Taiwan, and perhaps more importantly, why Taiwan will never leave me. If there's anything more that you want to know or you want to ask, or you have any comments at all to make on this video, the comment section is right down there for you. Please get in touch and we'll have a chat. Alternatively, if you want to see some more photos such as the ones that I've been putting into this video, then by all means go follow my Instagram, lifeintaiwan 2017. But as for now, I think we are a little bit over time. Thanks for watching the video. It's been fun sharing with you. If you've enjoyed the video, don't forget all of that liking, sharing and subscribing. It really helps the channel and it's free. But as for now, and as always, I'll see you next time in My Life in Taiwan. Peace.